I'm here with Lucy. We just watched Arsenal, very clinical destruction of Sheffield United. I've got to give a shout out to you because on the watch along, you were saying that if Arsenal get an early goal, the floodgates could open. Then pretty much that's exactly what happened. So tell us about your thought process behind that.
Well, I think if you look at our recent form, obviously the clean sheets, the amount of goals we're able to get from a range of players, I just felt like we needed to get that confidence from early on. And we did have that, and we almost were looking for that in the second half. As in that it got to, I don't know when the last goal came from Ben White, it probably was a good 15, 20 minutes into the second half. Yeah. And I do think if we got another early one, maybe we could have got into that double digits that everyone was saying about that. Yeah. But on a real, I feel like we definitely could have actually got there. But I think it's just unreal what we're actually doing. If you look back a few months ago, no one would have been able to predict what has been happening and the form and how good it's getting.
So what do you put that down to?
Whatever happened in Dubai, whatever was going on, I'm not
salt-based steaks.
Literally, that's what everyone's saying. But I don't know. I feel like it's just everyone's trusting in Arteta, and something's happening. Arteta's been able to transform these players. You've seen Havertz going from one of the most hated players at the beginning of the season to now he's probably one of the most respected, and everyone's trusting him. Even when he messed up a little bit the first 2 attempts he had today, we knew he'd get one eventually, and obviously he just slotted it in bottom right. So for him to be able to do that, even with Rice, we've seen Rice go from playing a CDM role where, we trust him fully, he was comfy in that role, but now he's become more of maybe on the left at 8, sort of where Xhaka used to be. He's slotted into there, and he's so progressive on the ball, he's so positive. We've seen him come to light, like he's honestly come to life so much because just his mannerisms and leadership. So we've seen Arteta be able to transform these players that I'm almost excited what he's going to be able to do when the likes of Timber, someone I'm really excited to see play again, because obviously we didn't get to see him play much for Arsenal. I'm just excited to see what Arteta can do with him, and even the signings in the summer, like moving forwards, it's exciting. Like it's starting now, the journey.
No, absolutely, I do agree. I've got to ask you though, I mean, we've spoken about Arsenal, we know how good we were and how good we've been recently, but Sheffield United, I mean, was it a case that we just out of this world, or are Sheffield United, as James said, really poor?
I mean, I think it's a bit of both. They were pretty shocking. Like you mentioned, obviously, their defence in the first 5 minutes, they were literally passing it to us as if it was like a shooting drill, just saying, no, you have another shot. And then suddenly they were just stood on the line.
Yeah, what surprised me is the way they just stood off. I mean, I'm expecting Chris Wilder, the way his mindset and the way his teams normally play, to come at Arsenal being a bit aggressive, but they just stood off and let us play, and we were more than happy to accommodate that. You know what I mean?
The distance was mental. Like you said, they were just shying away from it, whereas you saw with our defence didn't have much to do at all, really. Yeah. But you just saw that every time it went down the wing, we were so tight jockeying on them that we'd get the ball eventually either from that player or would knock it on for another defender to cover. Whereas with them, there was no cohesion. There was nothing going on with them. They weren't a team, whereas for us, I just feel like we're so fluent, we're so fluid with the ball. People were interchanging. Like for Ben White, for me, Ben White was player of the match, which is a player that I've never really rated.
You preempted my question I was going to ask. No, that's cool. I don't want to interrupt your flow too much.
No, but honestly, I feel like he was so pivotal in today's game because he literally would overlap Saka. He was creating them runs. The amount of time Saka was able to get the ball mostly came through Ben White as well. And obviously with his goal, that was... I feel like everyone's doing it in the Prem recently. You've got Foden obviously doing it yesterday. So everyone's just really stepping it up with the long distance shots. But honestly, Ben White, I just feel as though he's a player that I kind of overlook. You just see him as a defender. The defenders haven't had much to do recently, but we need to really acknowledge them.
No, you know what? You're making a very good point there. I mean, it's interesting because I had Odegaard as my man of the match. James had Havertz. You said Ben White. I wouldn't disagree with you or James. I thought he was outstanding today, as were a few of the others. A really good performance. I've got to ask you, projecting forward, we've got Brentford at the weekend, and, you know, a bit further down the road, we got City. How confident are you that we can go on and really do this?
I'm feeling confident in the boys. Like I back them 100%, and like you said, players like Odegaard, he actually ended up getting the man of the match today. So players like that.
Oh, did he get it?
Like I saw that just before this. Yeah. Like players like that, you expect them to be so good. And Saka, if he had more minutes on the pitch, for sure. Brentford, we need to enter it again with the same intensity, because that's one thing I'm really impressed with. Obviously, we should expect that intensity from the boys, but obviously Arteta was saying don't be complacent. You saw in his press conference he was saying not to be overconfident with it, and the boys weren't, and they were just smashing it, and we need to do that with Brentford. I think our mindset going into City will depend if we get the 3 points at the weekend and then how City and Liverpool go. I don't think we can look that too far ahead, especially not looking all the way to the end of the season. But I'm feeling fairly confident.
No, you look it, and I'm, you know what I mean, I'm believing in what I'm seeing, man. It's a good thing. Just to finish, we saw some of the guys who have been out for a while, namely Fabio Vieira, Partey. They came on. Cedric got some minutes. How do you think they did while they were on?
I think the only negative from the game, I don't want to bombard it, ruin the vibe, but I think the only negative did come from Partey. Every time he got the ball, I was almost seeing Havertz at the beginning of the season where he'd turn around and just pass it back.
Yeah, he looked a bit off the pace, didn't he?
It's understandable, he's been out for a while, but he was the only one that seemed a bit nervy on the ball, a bit shaky. I think Jesus coming on, you could tell that he was on it with it. I think also Vieira really, really impressed me because the way he was able to bring the ball down, get it under control. He was Jorginho was able to produce those balls to him because he was making those runs, and obviously filling the boots of Saka is quite hard to do. Not saying that he was able to do that, but he's near enough. But Partey I think was the only slight downer.
No, I would agree. I mean, Partey came on. It was great to see him, by the way, as I'm sure you would agree. Great to see him get some minutes. A couple of times he gave the ball away. Looked a little bit off the pace, but you know what? That's going to happen. Yeah. The main thing is he's back in the fold, and as the games come thick and fast, I'm sure he'll get more opportunities. But just to close, I've asked a couple of the other guys this question, and listen, I may have asked you this before as well, but with the City game, do you think that is the clincher? Hopefully we get a result against Brentford, but that City game looming, I think it's the end of the month. Do you think that is the game that will tell us whether, or do you think there might be other twists and turns? I
think every game is a big game. Even today's game is crucial in getting the points. So I couldn't give you a definite yes or no, but I definitely do think that City, that is a big game. If we get it, it's putting a statement out there and hopefully a positive one.
Okay, thank you very much, Lucy. Well done.